They're talking about him being traded. All of a sudden, no, Aaron. When we were having this conversation with Aaron yesterday, and it was announced he's coming back and he's playing, there was a huge reaction, and I didn't expect it. To be honest, I did not expect it. I thought, like, Aaron coming back and playing, no big deal. A lot of people thought they were going to rest him for the rest of the year because the team isn't doing what they've been doing the last 2 years or whatever, and he's banged up. Then all of a sudden the conversation started going, Aaron's going to get traded. Where is he going to get traded to? Because they're going to want to move on to Jordan Love because of what Big Play Slay said, what you said, like the future's there. They got to move on. Aaron is obviously not the right fit anymore. That started happening on the internet yesterday. Real fast, and I was like, did I miss something? I feel like did Aaron say he doesn't want to play there anymore? He didn't. This became the conversation, a natural one. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's a reality? And how long has that been talked about that I missed? Because I feel like I've missed that completely. I didn't know he was potentially getting traded at the end of the year. I heard he was potentially retiring forever. I didn't know he was getting traded. Now people are like, he's going to the Jets. He might be going to maybe he's go back to the Colts? Niners or whatever. I don't know if he'd come to the Colts, whatever. Titans. That started happening though last night. All of a sudden, I did not see that coming. Did I miss something, Ty?
No, that was news to me as well. I mean, the prevailing narrative was that he's going to retire after this year. But then for whatever reason, maybe it was sparked by Jordan Love looking pretty good when he came in the other night. But I hadn't heard any of the trade stuff, on like any of Packers Twitter or anything like that. Like that really did seemingly start kind of yesterday after the interview. I think that's bullshit. I don't think there's any way the Packers are going to trade him. I just can't imagine it. And like, Love did, compared to how he looked when he started that full Chiefs game last year. Like, he is leaps and bounds better. There's no question about it. But they kind of put all their chips in the Rodgers pot. Like, they owe him a bunch of money. Yeah, there's ways they could get around it. But also with Love too. Like, and I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to shit on the guy because as a Packers fan, like, obviously I want him to. I want it to be just kind of like the Brett to Aaron, Aaron to Jordan. Like, that would be great. But also, they were getting beat by 14 when he scored that touchdown. It wasn't necessarily a close game. Like, it ended up being closer than it really was. He threw 9 passes. Like, I don't know if that small sample size is enough to say, okay, fuck it. Yep, Rodgers, let's trade him. Let's get rid of him. We got our guy in Love. Let's kind of move full steam ahead towards him. Like, I just don't know if you can do that yet.
If they want to trade him, too, like to Indianapolis or something, like, we understand. Like,
Colts would love
Jordan's
that.
so good. Jordan Love was so good.
Oh, Jordan to
so
the
good,
Colts.
Great player.
No. Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
Because Jordan Love was so good.
Jeff Saturday played with A-Rod.
He knows him.
Oh, yeah.
Good friends.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
He comes.
Let's make it happen.
He comes on this show every week.
Yeah.
This show's here.
If he leaves, he's going to the West Coast. He ain't going anywhere. But he's not going to another cold city. Certainly,
I thought he was going to the Jets. I heard. I thought he was going to the Jets.
Yeah, Aaron's going to go play, in New York City for the Jets. I don't think so. I mean, if he is going to go anywhere, I think it would. I mean, maybe the Niners, his childhood team that he loved. Like, I could see that. But again, if the Niners win the Super Bowl this year, are they going to trade?
What about the Raiders?
Raiders, maybe. Hey, reunite with Devontae.
Come on.
Possible.
Waller?
I don't think he's coming to another cold city or something.
Burning Man's out there.
There you go. Exactly.
Let's pivot. Let's get back to this. Gather your thoughts on where Aaron Rodgers is going, because we will talk about this again, especially when AJ comes on. Aaron Rodgers is now being traded after this season. Did you see that? That kind of took off on the internet, and I thought we missed something. Did he say something that alluded to that, or is that just the success of Jordan Love with Aaron still being on contract and everybody assuming he's getting traded? And what are your thoughts on that as a thought that was certainly real on the internet last night?
Yeah, I did see some of that. I mean, I guess, people just assume. Do they assume that the Packers don't want him back? They think Jordan Love is the guy and they're ready to move on from him? Is that what people assume from seeing the little bit of action he got?
I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I have no idea. I think that's why they wanted people were calling for him to be pulled by LaFleur. So, hey, we can use this season that is turning out to be nothing to see what we got with the guy that we spent a first-round draft pick on. So I think that is the reasoning behind the people that were all calling for him to be pulled or calling for him to sit out the rest of the season. Now, those people fail to acknowledge like the $50 million that Aaron's getting paid to play football for the Green Bay Packers this year. And I understand, like, it would be a good time to get Jordan Love. Mathematically not eliminated yet.
Nope.
You still have a quarterback on a contract for the next couple years that's pretty fucking good, even though Jordan Love is in an interesting situation that none of us wish for Jordan Love to be in, okay? We think Jordan Love, great guy, not Jordan Love's fault to be in that situation. But it is crazy how the things get going. And if you listen to what Aaron says, Aaron's like, I'm fucking playing. What are we even talking about?
Yeah.
I'm playing football. They're paying me a lot of money to play football. And even if they weren't, it's football. This is how this whole thing goes. How do you see it panning out? You think it's going to get to a situation like Aaron and Brett did? Is that what this is going to happen here with the Packers faithful? Because wasn't that a real thing? I wasn't a Packers fan then.
Yeah.
But that was a very real thing back in
For
the day.
sure,
Right?
but Favre retired, and then they basically said like, all right, sounds good, we're going with Aaron, and then Favre decided like, well, actually, you know what, I don't want to retire, so he came back.
I haven't figured out how to rob poor people yet.
I'm still working on it, but I don't have the plan complete yet. So he came back. Then they traded him to the Jets. But I don't know. This kind of goes back to draft night. And again, nothing against Jordan Love, but it's like
Honestly,
it's why
nothing against Jordan.
No, but it's why I was so pissed off, and it's why a lot of Packers fans were pissed off because now you're in a position where, like, if you watched games, you knew, yeah, Rodgers maybe at that point hadn't been playing as well as he had, historically, but like he wasn't washed, and now you're in a situation where you're handcuffed, and you have this guy where you know what you have with him a little bit, but not necessarily enough to extend him, which is what they're going to have to do. Like, they should have just gone again with Rodgers, and then you start this whole process. If they drafted someone in this upcoming offseason, then, like, that makes sense. But to do it when they did, it still is just mind-boggling.
Yeah, and Jordan Love obviously has taken it all in stride. He's gotten better. Darius Slay, we played a portion of his podcast, Big Play Slay, which is an awesome podcast, I think. If the minute that I watched is anything like the rest of the podcast, I think it's a great fucking
show.
podcast.
Sweet.
He talked about how, when a defense sees that Aaron Rodgers is walking off the field, we're all like, hey, this is a good day. Probably going to get a pick. D-line, a little bit more excited, probably a little bit more indecisive, probably going to do it. And then he talked about how Jordan Love, this guy is copy and pasting Aaron almost. He said he was like impressed with Jordan Love. He's obviously been in the back pocket of Aaron since he's got there and he's learned from him. It's the right person to do it. I think Jordan has handled this all very well as well, and it has not been an easy situation at all for him to be in, AJ.
No, I mean, what a unique situation to get drafted to the Packers. All of this stuff is still going on. Like, he's, 3 years in now, and there's still all this. Who knows what this offseason looks like. So, yeah, I think it was good to see Jordan Love get in there and just look confident, look comfortable, like he could run the offense. I'm sure that felt good for the Packers. And also for Jordan Love to get the compliments from Darius Slay, I think that'll go a long way for that, too.
I think so, too. Just like they say Christian Watson, that man right there who his entire confidence changed after one play, after he made a big-time play, and ever since he's had, 6 in the last 3 weeks or something like that, 6 touchdowns. It could change there. Jordan Love having good film in meaningful football games against a good team is great for Jordan Love in his camp. I don't think the Green Bay Packers would have any problem trading Aaron Rodgers if they were looking to trade Aaron Rodgers. The media's perspective of Aaron Rodgers versus other players, you heard Big Play Slay, like, that's the right guy to fucking copy and paste. It's a GOAT. You got one of the GOATs right there. Obviously, Aaron's doing that whole thing. And I think there is a lot of GMs around the NFL that would be like, oh, the guy who does ayahuasca, is that why we're not taking him? We don't like him because he does ayahuasca? Yeah. Well, yeah, he also didn't get vaccinated. Oh, that son of a bitch. Do we have to worry about that anymore? No.
Does his arm still work?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, we'll fucking certainly sign up to pay a fucking Aaron Rodgers to come to our team. I hope Packers fans know that. Like, I hope Packers fans know that because I saw some Packers fans that were tweeting last night that seemingly did not. They were saying, take the hit because nobody's going to want him and move on so we don't have the drama. I'm like, you have no idea what it's like, okay, you Green Bay. I was lucky to be a part of the Colts organization. When Peyton left, Andrew Luck came in, okay? That is a great situation. And they kept saying, oh, this is like Brett going to Aaron. And I'm not saying that Jordan Love isn't going to be the next one that carries that baton of great football. But if he isn't, it gets real dark real quick. Hey, it gets real dark real quick as a fan base. And I just think Packers fans need to understand that and need to recognize that. Because if Aaron was announced to come to the Indianapolis Colts, they might put a fucking statue up of him before he even takes a snap here in Indianapolis. Hey, put a banner, put a fucking flag.
Seen the Ring of Honor.
We got Aaron Rodgers. Tone was not impressed with it. Tone was not impressed with the
Harbaugh
Ring
was
of
there
Honor.
for 2 years.
Why?
Pretty crazy.
His name's on the Ring of Honor.
Hey,
They have
don't
a
start talking
AFC
shit
finals
about our
bid.
Ring of Honor, all right?
There's,
all those guys earned it.
I don't know if everybody did, to be honest with you. There's a couple guys before I got there who you look up there and you just see the amount of years they were there. And then you look up the history books the Colts, and they don't own any of them.
No.
But they were a necessity to get the Colts to where they are today.
That's right.
So that is why
Was Marshall Falk traded away? Because I thought I saw his name up there. Too.
Yep. He was traded
Yeah,
away.
that's weird.
He was traded away.